It has been a month since I unboxed and gave my first impressions on the OnePlus 10T. To some people out there, this might be the most settled OnePlus flagship ever released, but nevertheless, it is still a really good phone that I have enjoyed daily driving, and at the price of 3,199 ringgit, it undercuts the competition as the lowest priced Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 smartphone. But are some of the compromises that OnePlus made over the 10 Pro worth it? Well, you probably already know the answer, but before that, let's get on with my 1-month review of the OnePlus 10T. Unless you are a sharp-eyed gadget fan, the OnePlus 10T resembles the OnePlus 10 Pro's design so much that it is pretty hard to tell the differences between them by just looking at it. But in essence, there is a significant design difference. One being the front face, which uses a flat display panel instead of curved. The Hasselblad branding on the camera array is gone, and most notably, the signature alert slider is missing on the 10T, which is probably the most disappointing hardware omission that any OnePlus fan will forever rant. In addition, the OnePlus 10T is IP54 rated against dust and water splashes, which is a big step down from the 10 Pro in terms of durability. Despite that, the OnePlus 10T is still a very well-built phone, and I haven't really found these hardware compromises a big no-no during the review period. It is still at least protected against accidental water splashes, and about the alert slider, I'm so used to manually switching to silent mode using the volume buttons on most Android phones that I almost forgot that it is actually a thing on a OnePlus phone. Of course, I can totally feel how OnePlus diehard fans perceive towards the OnePlus 10T. It is a very similar feeling of not having a charger inside the box or not having a headphone jack when you're so used to having it on your old phone. But trust me, these hardware omissions are really easy to live by once you start using it. The OnePlus 10T employs a 6.7-inch Full HD AMOLED display that refreshes at 120Hz. It has good outdoor brightness and shows very good colors, but sadly doesn't refresh adaptively to conserve power. The stereo speakers are fine but not the best I've heard on a flagship. It has good volume but lacks bass and doesn't support Dolby Atmos like you get on the OnePlus 10 Pro. Here's how they sound like. At this time of shooting, my OnePlus 10T is still running on Oxygen OS 12.1 based on Android 12. The company has also promised to upgrade the phone to Oxygen OS 13 based on Android 13 that's coming soon to the device that I definitely can't wait. The software experience on OnePlus phones have rarely disappointed me as it doesn't come with any bloatware or annoying ads throughout the user experience. And with a more powerful and efficient Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 processor, along with 16GB of RAM, not to forget the smooth 120Hz FHD Plus panel, the OnePlus 10T offers one of the best software experience in the same class. The same smooth and speedy experience can be also experienced in gaming. The OnePlus 10T is probably the best non-gaming smartphone that does really well in extended gameplay sessions. It doesn't heat up quite as terribly as other flagships and is quite on par with the ROG Phone 6 that I recently reviewed. The OnePlus 10T's camera capabilities may lack the touch of Hasselblad and doesn't have the same camera setup as the OnePlus 10 Pro. It is, however, still sufficient in most cases if you mainly use the primary sensor for shooting. It is an optically stabilized 50-megapixel Sony IMX766 sensor that we have seen on many recent smartphones, which takes decent photos in various lighting conditions. Though OnePlus's image tuning can be a little extreme that oversaturates certain photos I took, I was hardly disappointed with it. The real letdown on the camera is the 8-megapixel ultra-wide and 2-megapixel macro lens, which I don't think they should exist on a 3,000 ringgit smartphone. The ultra-wide camera takes decent image quality but is sadly not as wide as I like. While OnePlus could have just omitted the macro lens to save cost because I've never once cared to use it during the review period. I would have preferred if they had included a lower resolution telephoto lens, but seriously, I don't think making this a performance-oriented phone requires such a bad hardware decision. The front 16-megapixel selfie camera is serviceable but isn't the best that I've seen on a flagship, which I think is a reasonable compromise that OnePlus has made. I have always appreciated faster charging on phones, and the OnePlus 10T's 150W Super Volt charging is crazy good whenever I'm on single-digit battery levels. Picture this: when you reach the office and realize the phone is low on battery, you plug in the charger, spend about 5 minutes making a cup of coffee, and the next 5 minutes checking your emails in your computer. The phone's battery would have been about 80%, and before you even realize, it is already fully charged. This is the craziest charging speed that I have ever seen on a smartphone. And if you are worried about your battery's health, OnePlus guarantees that the 4800 mAh battery will still hold 80% of charge after 800 to 1600 cycles. That is a very bold claim that not manufacturers dare to do. Speaking of battery life, the OnePlus 10T can be a 2-day device if you're on a very lightweight usage, and in my typical 4-hour screen-on-time usage, I still have about 30% of battery left when I end my day. That's very, very impressive. The OnePlus 10T is ultimately a phone targeted at those who cares more about smartphone performance than anything else. It is fair for OnePlus to leave out some features from the Pro to make this a performance-oriented and more affordable device. And more importantly, it doesn't and shouldn't cannibalize the sales of the OnePlus 10 Pro. Though I think the company has gone a little too far when it comes to cutting corners on the OnePlus 10T, especially on the camera department where I think it deserves a better ultra-wide camera. But considering that you are paying at least 1,000 ringgit lower than the OnePlus 10 Pro's original price, I think the hardware compromises are somehow forgivable despite being bad decisions. Nevertheless, the OnePlus 10T gets my thumbs up for what it is capable of, and like what I said on my first impressions video, you shouldn't hate it. So that's all for my 1-month review on the OnePlus 10T. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and be sure to subscribe to us for more videos coming right up, and I'll see you guys in our next one.